Hey, it's Austin. Or my name is Austin. Um, so last month I went to CCV, Community College of Vermont, and I had an English class, and our teacher had us do one of the assignments our teacher had us do was called a farmer's diary in Germany. Now, I like writing very much, and I'm probably going to do a couple more videos about this kind of stuff. But this one is called the Farmer's Diary in Germany. What he had us do is we could be any character we wanted, male, female, husband, wife, child, whatever, and we were 10 miles away from Dachau, a concentration camp in southwest Germany, I believe it is. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I think. I'm pretty sure that's where it was. Anyway, so, and we find a Jew, and what do we do with it? Basically, that's the entire story. What do we do? And so, here's mine. And enjoy. Sunday, January 5th. I wake up, still drowsy, on a bright Sunday morning. Today is Sunday, January 5th, 1944. I look to my left and smile. It is my beautiful wife sleeping peacefully. I live on a farm with my wife and 3 kids. Aiden is the youngest, at 7 years old. Then there is Sebastian, 10, and Maria, the oldest, at the ripe age of 16. We own a 7-acre farm with 10 horses, a herd of cattle, sheep, chickens, and several goats. Although we live comfortably enough, it is clear that outside is chaos. It is the height of World War II. The German Nazis have concentration camps everywhere in occupied Germany, the closest being Dachau, only 10 miles away. We have been visited by Nazi SS troops many times. It is considered a necessary element to maintain knowledge of any missing Jews. The Jews that are escapees found hiding are immediately slayed. It is even dangerous for a German family to hide a Jew. If the Jew is found, both the Jew and the family hiding them are slaughtered. I don't agree with this. Personally, I think that every person is equal. Adolf Hitler is wrong, in my opinion. For some reason, I think that maybe the Führer, Adolf Hitler, is threatened by this particular race. For whatever reason, he seems to believe that he is making a good decision by mass murdering the Jewish race. However, if there was the decision of sacrificing me and my family's lives and outcasting a Jew that is hiding, I would most likely risk the Jew's life and outcast him rather than endangering my family. I make breakfast and call the family down to eat. Grouchy and sleepy, and one by one, they slowly trickle down, shuffling lethargically. After a hearty breakfast of steak and potatoes, a small serving of each, seeing as how we only have so much supply, I go outside jovially to attend to the animals. I notice the animals are unusually fidgety. I hear them move around a lot, more than usual. I grunt as I heave open the bulky and certainly heavy maple door of the barn, which was once painted a bright red paint. Now the paint is faded and chipped, showing areas of the barren maple beneath. I walk in, whistling an upbeat German folk tune. About 10 yards in, I stop in my tracks. I stand and stare. No more than 3 yards in front of me, cowering weakly and shivering against the bitter January morning chill, violently, is a young female, no more than 18 years old. She is deeply emaciated, with torn and tattered clothing. I can clearly see her white armband, also tattered, embossed with the blue Star of David. One look at her tells me that she is an escapee, or at least that is what I conclude. She likely escaped, if she is indeed an escapee, which is most probable, from Dachau. I can also tell, from examining her small figure, that she is severely malnourished, extremely cold, and has been through much more than I could imagine. She has very pronounced ribs, which are visible through her tattered clothing, as well as prominent cheeks, sunken eyes, and obviously protruding pelvic bones. On top of that, I see that her arms are quite bony. She has no shoes, which I can only conclude got lost while she was running. Her possibly once blonde hair is mussed and tangled, colored a disgusting shade of mud. Another thing I notice about her, possibly the most haunting and frightening feature, is her eyes. Bulging, filled with sadness, an obvious sign that she most likely has seen much sorrow, and murderously wild. They are bloodshot and abnormally frightened. Her eyes stare hollowly at me. I stare back, only because looking into her ghoulish eyes has seemingly frozen me. I am suddenly extremely frightened and concerned for this young woman. I hear her breathing, shallow and raspy, but scared, certainly loud enough to discern it from the rustling of the animals. She horribly fits in, very wild and frightened, her struggle exposing her animalistic will to survive. Help! She quietly rasps, almost too quiet, but loud enough for me to hear. I am watching her with intense curiosity and horrific fascination. Out of nowhere, I suddenly become angry. Who are you? Why are you here? You shouldn't be here. She is weak, but musters her strength. It is obvious that every breath is a struggle. I am Leah. I come Dachau. She falters from exhaustion. Escape. She is apparently traumatized from her broken manner of speech. I can also tell she is not naturally English speaking. My family and I learned English for security. Before retiring to run the farm and be with my family, I was a small town medic, a doctor. Excuse me. I became tired of the stress and demand forced upon me, so I decided to retire. Family killed. I 17. It is difficult understanding her, with her broken speech and raspy, terrified voice attributing to this difficulty. Me only left. No family. Killed. No food in week. Only mud water. 2 weeks to travel. Get here. Help. She is 17, with no family, severely malnourished, overworked, and very low hygiene. Leah, is it? Da. She speaks in a strong German accent. Are you German or Jew? I ask this because, despite her armband marking her as a Jew, it is occasionally mistaken that a German is marked as a Jew. Another feature that makes me question that this is her strong German accent. Her strong German accent contradicts her marking. Jew. She starts crying, but it is dry from severe malnourishment and dehydration. I look grim. She must understand what emotions I am apparently conveying by my facial expressions. She rather sympathetically says, I sleep with 2 others in bed. I have been pain. They do sex me. She once again starts crying dryly. At Dachau, they work you all day, and you get small sleep, smell, little food, bad drink. Can you walk? Little. I will help you. I will give you clean, dry clothes and food. But I advise you to eat slowly, and even then, small amounts. Let's get you inside. I will explain to my family. I'm warning you, you most likely will not be received warmly. Da. I carry Leah out of the chilly barn carefully. She is very fragile. It takes me just about 20 minutes to get her 50 yards from the barn to the house. Inside, Portia, my wife, is cleaning. As I walk in, she looks up and then goes back to work. Almost immediately, she does a double take and stares at me. What do you think you're doing? She says sternly. I am helping this poor young woman. I realize she is Jewish, but she is severely malnourished, extremely weak, and she has no family. What happens if the SS soldiers find her? Then what? I honestly don't know. You better know what you're doing. Usually, when she, Portia, makes a decision, she doesn't budge on her opinions. But, for whatever reason, she wavered and let me take care of this poor young woman, despite the major risk. Over the next 2 weeks, my family and I took care of Leah, and, by that time, she was already looking exceedingly better. Her figure had filled out more. Her eyes were more tame, not so wild. Her ribs and cheekbones were still quite prominent, but certainly less pronounced. Tuesday, January 28th, 1944. By 3 weeks, she was a lot less emaciated. By then, only a few of her ribs were still showing. There was still no sign that the SS soldiers were coming to visit us, which was extremely good. It was only a matter of time before they would. From what Leah told us, there are death camps all over Germany. At first, I didn't believe her. My children did, but they believe nearly everything, except Maria. She is skeptical of half of the things she hears. But, after hearing the gruesome detail of how the Jews are forced to dig trenches and then mowed down by the Nazi soldiers into the trenches they just finished digging, how so many Jews are killed, mutilated, and cruelly experimented on. Thursday, February 19th, 1944. After about a month and a half, we assumed that the SS soldiers had given up or forgotten about Leah. Now, we practically accepted her as part of our family. With nowhere else to go, I felt obligated to take care of her. Before I was a farmer, I was a small-time doctor. I guess my instinct to help was part of what made me decide to take Leah in. I couldn't stand seeing her so unhealthy and decimated. It literally hurt to see another life in that bad of shape. Monday, March 20th, 1944. 3 weeks into the second month, on March 20th, 1944, we were all enjoying a lunch of steak, goat cheese, and goat milk. We were almost finished when we hear a loud knock on the door. Extremely jumpy, we rush to hide Leah, in case it is Nazi SS soldiers. Apparently impatient, the person at the door pounds on the door again. Shortly after, I answer the door cautiously. I am met by a group of 5 SS soldiers. The first one takes out his gun and aims it at my head. "Wait, we don't know anything," I lie. They don't buy it. We know you have teenage girl here." The SS soldier speaks with a slurred and heavy German accent that I strain to hear. I am silent because I know it's true. But he briefly puts down his gun, and I hear my family enter behind me. I see the SS soldier raise his gun and aim it at my head. I hear Maria scream, and I close my eyes, already accepting my own death. I hear the gun fire with a deafening crack. I don't feel anything. Instinct taking over, I drop to the ground. I feel my body hit the floor. My mind is racing. My foggy brain quickly clears, and I open my eyes and find that I am not, in fact, dead. I look back and see my wife, a lifeless lump, laying on the floor with a hole in her head and blood pooling. I immediately start sobbing. I try to comprehend what has happened, but my body is in denial. Just then, I hear the gun reloading. The last sound I hear, that my mind registers, is my daughter sobbing in between stifled screams.